Hello, welcome to the Essential Tools for Sustaining Your Business Remotely call. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give everybody just a quick moment to dial in. We still have folks streaming in as we speak, so we're going to give you just a minute to get settled. My name is Noah Hartkoff. I'm with Inhabit IQ. We have 4 panelists here with us today. We're going to do a quick intro of them after we do some housekeeping. We do have a Q&A section that we're going to go over, and we do encourage everybody that is joining us on the call to participate as much as possible. We're even bribing you a little bit. We're going to send out some gift cards and thank yous to folks that do participate. First question is, without checking your phone, tell us what day of the week it is. That's the first question. So if you get that one right and you're the first one to chime in the Q&A, should be at the top or bottom of the screen. We'll send you a little thank you for participating. Here's our legal disclaimer. I guess we can go through this as we're waiting for people to dial in. Spoiler alert, we are not medical professionals. I just want to get that out of the way right now. So anything that you hear on here is just our opinion. We are brilliant, if I do say so ourselves, speaking on behalf of the panelists, but unfortunately we're not medical professionals. So stay safe. We'll get through this here. We are all in this together. That is the underlying theme of this call. You're going to hear it a lot: communication, compliance, and truly we are all in this together. In my 15 plus years, I'm getting old, 15 plus years in the industry, I can't remember a time where the line has been more blurred between the vendor partner, our clients for the professional management companies, and then their clients, ultimately the residents. I've never seen a time where the line is more blurred and really bringing us together as a team as we are here is just to provide some industry knowledge from the professionals here on our panel to help you get through this time. This is what I was referring to before, the Q&A section. Again, we are bribing you to participate. The more the better. So we want this to be as interactive as it possibly can be. You are muted, so don't worry about that part, but please do chime in if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to hear something from one of the individual panelists. Please feel free to chime in whenever you'd like, and we will recognize them live on the air. Again, that could be at the top or bottom of your screen. I have a 50-50 shot of getting that right. So it's somewhere on there. If you don't see it, then shoot us an email afterwards. We are going to include all of the panelists' contact information after each segment. But if you miss it, we're going to wrap that up at the end, as well as send that out in a follow-up email. Thank you for joining us on the call, but then also distributing all of the contact information that we have. Another little teaser for you. We have an exit poll at the end of the call. So if you stay on for that, do the exit poll. We are also selecting a few winners out of the hat style, random winners that participate in that poll to give a little gift card to, as well as a thank you for being a part of it. We're going to dive into this now. We're going to do a quick intro of our panelists. Again, guys, communication, organization, you're just being prepared for coming out of this thing at the end stronger than you were going into it, which, believe it or not, is possible. We have 4 panelists here, 4 industry professionals representing 4 different brands that have been gracious enough to not only join us on the call today, but put together some really cool programs for our clients to take advantage of, most of them for absolutely free. I don't want to take too much of the thunder here from the panelists. I'll let them really get through all the details of that, of what they're offering, but really lowering the barriers of entry so that we are providing a true service to the industry at a time, quite frankly, when they need it the most. So we're going to do a quick intro here. Seth with Site Comply is joining us from New York City. Seth?
Hey there, Noah. Thank you very much for having us. We're very excited to be here and be a part of the conversation. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being here. We have Phil Rogers from Aptex. Phil, welcome.
Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it. We're excited to be able to share the Aptex messaging solution with everyone during a time that is one of the most difficult times we've ever been involved in. So thank you for having us here.
Thank you. Appreciate you being a part of it. Annie Bing from Grow LMS. Annie, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Annie. Thanks, Noah, so much for having Grow on. We're excited as well to share what else we can do and offer our clients rather than just training. So we're excited. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Annie. And bat and clean up today, Chris Garrett. Chris with Valence Docs. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Noah. Thank you so much for having us. we're just very honored and excited to be here, share what we can do, and hopefully help out our partners out there in the multifamily industry.
Fantastic. Appreciate you being a part of it, sir. So let's get right into it, guys. Again, we're really focusing today on communication, compliance, and really making sure that that operations are running as smoothly as possible while most of the folks in the field are working remotely. So how do we maintain that the standard operating procedures and the communication across the team, not only with your employees but with the residents? So that being said, Seth, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Site Comply and InCheck.
Sure. So thank you very much for having us again. So, look, Site Comply knows that in the best of times, being a property management, professional can be a hectic environment, whether it's preventive maintenance, everything, dealing with all that stuff that's on your properties. Dealing with it now is even more complicated. There are new people doing the work that might be being done by people who are normally at the properties. There are new policies and procedures that you guys have to put in place to be able to deal with the environment that's out there and adapt in a changing world, and actually being able to ensure that things are getting done. That's something we hear a lot about, is people who are saying, I know I've asked my people to do something, but do I know whether they're doing it or not? How do I know? How can I make sure that my team members are actually getting the things that need to be done at the properties? And so we've seen a bunch of folks reach out, both to ask us, how we can help, and we're excited to be here in part there, but also just to hear, like, what are other people doing? And if we can help facilitate some of the communication between companies and understand what the best practices are, we're thrilled to be a part of it. One of the reasons that we built InCheck was to help folks to be able to communicate the work that needs to be done. This is, we started off in New York managing 2 billion square feet and 1 million apartments are use the Site Comply solution. And all the complexities on how do they get all that work done was something that we built this product for, and really to bring that visibility, that accountability, and that consistency of, as I'm going out and I'm saying what needs to be done on my properties in these times, is it getting done? So if you can move to the next slide. One of the things that we're offering is the inspections app and sort of the tools to be able to go out and say what work is being done in the field at my properties right now. So we have created a bunch of pre-built and customizable inspection types that let you handle not just your normal move in, move out, safety walks, those kinds of things, but cleanliness inspections, making sure you're doing check-ins on your tenants. How are you handling those? You can actually pull those and have your people in the field be able to say, this might be new work. This might be something where the people on the ground are not the normal property managers there. It's somebody who's filling in for something and they need some guidance. They can pull up their phone and say, exactly what do we need to do? Be able to say, swipe through the kinds of inspections that are on there and say, yes, I checked to see whether it was cleaned or not. Yes, I checked to see whether there were people in the apartment or not, or maybe they've moved on to go somewhere else. Customizable fields that you can put in there. Say you want to check in, is anyone sick? Yes, no. You want to be able to put that in there. You want to be able to capture those things so that you can have them stored and then hand those things off to, maybe might be in another system, like it's handing off to a Valence Stock because there's inspections in there, or you are kicking off some Aptex communications programs. You're making sure that those are actually kicking off. You want to have that information as well. You can collect that data on the phones, offlines, and then have them pull back in and being used later on, which is really super helpful. And you can automatically schedule this stuff. So if you need to check in with someone in the future, you need to make sure that you're available and have that, you can do all those as well. If you can go to the next slide for it, that's awesome. And so, the workflow library that we've set up, during normal times, these are aligned to say you have some sort of an improvement plan, whether that's improving the value by renovating the lobby, but more often like the little things that happen every single day. You're going out there and you're saying, this is the way we operate. This is what we do when we do a turn. This is what we do when we're actually running these procedures on a move in or move out. That doing a library of best practices, whether that's our best practices we've gathered, or this is the way you want to run your organization, that's really, really key. And so we've got those workflows there being able to set up and triggered as part of it, and they can be automatically triggered. They can be triggered because you walk onto a property and you're like, oh, I see something that needs to be done. Let me just trigger that right now. They can be triggered by a tenant request. Say you have someone call in, they're making a specific kind of request. Is this heat and hot water related? Is this a safety related? Is this something around COVID? You can actually trigger different workflows based on that. And you can have the smart roles in the teams. And this is where it's so critical right now. You may not know who is the person who's on the ground at one of your buildings, one of your portfolio elements, because there's a team of people that are going in, or who's going to be on that property doing a check-in this week. Then being able to say there's someone in the role here who's got the team is really, really super important there. And we can see that, you know, as folks are adopting those standard operating procedures, they can see a significant reduction, a 30% reduction in overall costs, and really a 23% reduction in the business risk around that. If you go for the next slide, please. So for example, let me talk about how these workflows standardize your waste. So say you ask a manager to perform out a move out inspection, you want to make sure that nothing drops through the cracks there. Or say you want to have what exactly was done in this clean disinfectant workflow. We want to make sure that they've all been done exactly the same. So rather than sort of spending all of your time trying to coordinate, let me get on the calls, let me get texts, let me follow up, let me figure out who the new person is on that ground, you can say, I've just pushed these out to the portfolios, and those actually are able to jump right in there. So there's no question on what you want, information you want to collect during that inspection review, preventative maintenance group, you've already laid it out. So you can reduce the risk there, you can reduce operating costs, you can make sure that you're spending more of your time managing your business and figuring out what has to happen, as opposed to following up and nagging people or saying, hey, did everybody do this important thing that we want to go through there? Super important when there's a change in staff or there's new standard operating procedures. Imagine trying to go out and redo all of those binders that are in the lobbies of all of your leasing offices right now on standard operating procedures versus I can digitally push these out. When there's a new threat that I need to respond to, there's a new way, just I want to run my business. As I'm coming out of this, the changes that we need to do, rather than having those in physical form, they're all set there and they can adapt those over time. On the next piece is something we've heard over the last 2 weeks is people want to spend less time being reactive and saying, what do I do? How do I respond to a tenant that's going in there? What can I do? And say, I want to be more proactive. Don't want to sift through emails or texts or anything like that. I want to be able to give insight of what's going on. This is super important if you're saying, I want to know right now how many of my properties have actually been inspected and are good to go. We've done these cleanings this week. We're all set to go. We're ready to go forward. As we come to this and we start the leasing procedures again, what's ready, what's going, what changes are we going to make as we start to show folks in place? And you can track these individual pieces as well. Going to the next one, something that really is important as you think about the times when you're saying, we're going to have to make sure that all of our business is running efficiently, is running super high performance, and that we are making sure everyone's doing exactly what we want to do them as we come out of this time periods. Being able to know what's happening. This group of my portfolio is able to execute. This is the time period. This one needs a little bit more. Running on-demand reports, super important for that, whether they're being able to be pushed off into other people as well, or whether you're using them to run your own business. The last thing I wanted to say here is that I want to, if the next slide, please, on that, is that during this time when people are figuring out how do they have to adapt, how do they have to change their businesses to make it safer, more profitable, get it back to normal as quickly as we can. If we can be of assistance there, we'd love to. On our sitecomply.com site, there's a bunch of information that we have on that, on the workflows, but we'd also like to offer the first 60 days, no charge whatsoever for the in-check aspects of it. So if you want to use this technology, make your own portfolios run a little bit more efficiently, to be able to adapt with this a little bit more, we'd love to help you as well with that. So with that, thank you very much, Noah. I appreciate you inviting us on.
Wonderful. Thank you, Seth. 60 days, no charge is fantastic. So we appreciate you guys, stepping up and providing that to the industry, like I said, when they need it the most. Being in New York City, quick question for you. Being in New York City, unfortunately, one of the hotbeds here in the U.S., what have you seen your current clients, which you guys have, I mean, a majority of the market out there already dialed in with InCheck and Site Comply in the greater New York City area. What have you seen your current clients gravitating towards most or utilizing the most within InCheck, given the current state of the market?
Yeah, so there's two areas really where we've seen it. One is in the communication aspects of it with their customers, whether that's triggering things based on the portals or going out and starting to use programs communicating with their tenants on our commercial side or the multifamily residence side of things. There's been a lot of that communications. And the second thing is really just running through workflows. We have a bunch of folks who have rolled out cleaning portfolios where they need to say, look, disinfecting your lobby, disinfecting doorknobs, disinfecting the mailboxes was not something that we had to do on a regular basis that we knew what to do about. So we need to push that out and make sure people are going through there. And the second thing is how important communication is, which I know there's some other folks on here that have some things on there, how important it is to be proactive in the communication aspects of it, getting in front of your tenants, talking to them about what's going on, because that way that communication really, really helps to make sure that you know that there's a relationship between the landlord and the tenant that isn't, a one, that it's a positive relationship because they know you're there looking out for them as well. That's really been the second part.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like we said at the opening of the call, that's kind of the underlying theme of this entire panel here is communication, because the lines are so blurred between, a vendor, owner, manager, property management company, and the resident. Communication right now is paramount across the board, and making sure that we are able to provide those solutions to the market right now is huge. So we appreciate Site Comply and InCheck for being a part of this. Questions, guys, if you guys have them as we go, feel free to chime in. We appreciate you guys being a part of the call, and we will address them live on the call. Speaking of communication, Phil Rogers is here with Aptex, and this is one that, has been really, really big, not just from a payment perspective, online payments, which, as you can imagine, is a pretty big deal right now, but communicating with the residents, letting them know that you're here, and not, if somebody's late on rent or whatever it is, if they're having a tough time financially, being able to open up those lines of communication when you're not able to see them face to face, like you might be able to in a normal market. This is the new normal. And I'm excited to introduce Phil and Aptex to let you know kind of how they can help you with that and communicating with the residents. So Phil, thanks again for being here.
Thanks, Noah. I appreciate it. And Seth, thanks again for being part of this. This is great. I'm very familiar with what you guys are doing up there and the importance of your technology, and then combined with some of the communication tools that we have here. I think we're in a time that for most of us, we've never seen in our lifetime, and hopefully we never see again. And when people have reached out to Aptex, of course, they think of it from a payments perspective, but they didn't even understand that we have this powerful communication tool. And I think the ability to communicate with your residents now more than ever is of utmost importance. Not the communication that's going on the news. We see that all the time. It's all wonderful. It's more of what's happening within my own community or within our own company, and being able to have the ability to communicate, whether it's at the individual property level and whether it's at the entire portfolio level, having the control at corporate level to making sure that we are communicating to our residents effectively the way we want. And we all know we've made mistakes with emails and text messages out there. I think it's funny when it's like, please, forgive me for any, on the text messages, any errors or whatever they might have. I guess that's our way of getting around it, but corporate probably doesn't want to see that type of communication out there to their residents. And so they have the ability with our system to communicate across their entire portfolio the way they want to communicate the residents. And so what we've built in here, and part of the Aptex solution, is a full, robust messaging solution. As you see on here, I can send things out to my residents. I can send in a immediate group message. So if I want to send something right now to my entire property, my portfolio, if I want to schedule this message out to be sent maybe, you know, every Wednesday, we're going to give updates on what's going on. You can do something like that, reminders about what's happening. And do I want to send this via email or do I want to send it via text? And having the ability to track all of that, that's key. Messaging is great, but if I can't track it, I can't see my properties actually doing it. I can't see any type of history of my properties communicating with my residents, then we don't know what they're doing. And with our system, we have the ability to give you all of the insight of all of the different types of messaging your properties are doing, your corporate's doing. And then moving into kind of that next piece is we communicate, I think you can go, the way the residents are looking for today. And a lot of people, you know, back in the day, I mean, no, not everybody's as old as you, but you know, they're used to having it via email. And now they're all about text messaging. And so having the ability to communicate via both email and text messaging, hitting the people the way that they want to be communicated is the way AppText was designed. It is a mobile first solution. So from a resident, they can get the notifications directly via text message. They can see it through their portal on their mobile device. But for us, we've also made it very easy for you to communicate. It should not take a long time for you to be able to send out whatever type of message that you want to whomever you want. I've seen communication tools out there that take forever to build and then nobody uses it because it's tedious. Our system's very easy. We have merge fields that you can create. You know, you want to send out certain notifications or, you know, maybe there's, you know, to certain people or based on move-ins or move-outs or lease start dates or, you know, whatever. You can customize this to any way that you want and you can send it out to whomever you want. And it's via text or via email. So we've created some templates in the system. You can create the templates in the system. It's very easy. Once you have a template, you choose your residents, you choose who you want to send it to, and you choose the template. And within seconds to minutes, you have communicated with everybody that you want to communicate with. Right? The other piece that we have, because we have this text messaging, is the bi-directional communication. Another key feature of AppText is if I need to communicate with an individual, one of my residents, I don't want to keep sending emails back and forth. I might want to just shoot them a text and they can communicate directly back to me in the portal and everything is tracked. So you will always have the communication stored in our system for whatever you need. If, you know, if you're asking, I can't pay, and heaven forbid we ever have to go down a path of, you know, a collection or eviction or whatever. Nobody wants to have that. But you also need to have the ability to make sure that you've tracked that communication. So our two-way communication can also be downloaded. But this is an easy way for us to communicate things that are going on, whether it's at that unit, whether it's at the property. But here, we can even use the good old emojis if you want to use something that is, you know, what people are wanting to see today, which is funny. I mean, I've seen so many different emojis lately that I didn't even know they existed. But we can communicate the way that they want to. And then from there, if you go into the way we're able to track it. So if you go to the next screen, we have the ability on our reporting tools. You'll have a dashboard seeing all of the different types of communications that are happening. We're integrated with the PM systems. You don't have to send us anything. We're going to be able to go ahead and monitor all of that information for you. So I can tell which properties are utilizing the service. I can see what the response rates are, any of the communications that are taking place within my residence, all from a single dashboard across my entire portfolio. That is a unique system. Again, if it's not easy to use, nobody's going to use it. This is one of the easiest communication tools that I've been witnessing. And I've been part of, I've been with RealPage, Yardi, AMSI. I helped build Resman. I've helped build a number of software systems. Communication in some of those systems are not easy to do. This is user-friendly from the corporate, from the property, and to the resident. And what we're offering right now, Noah, is 60 days free. For the next 60 days, any company that signs up or properties that sign up, we're going to give them this messaging tool for free. There is no obligation whatsoever. We know it's important for them to be able to communicate with their residents. And we want to give them the tool that's easiest to use. So after 60 days, if you don't want to use it anymore to communicate with your residents, that's fine. But right now, if you're not using an easy tool, you're not communicating with your residents, please consider AppText. We're giving it to you for free just so you can communicate with your residents. And then the next piece is this is what we're known most for is the online payments. We are a payment solution that has messaging built into the system. Right now, we have so many people that are, and people on here, this, that are saying, hey, we're not going to pay our rent. We're not going to pay our rent. It's very important for us to communicate. They should be paying their rent if they can. I mean, that is key. Everybody has to pay mortgages. Landlords have to pay mortgages. We need them to pay the rent. But we also want to send them some very easy tools to do. So all online, this is where everything is going. I think this is changing the way we're doing business. Instead of allowing people to come hand us a check, which people aren't even wanting to touch the checks because we don't know what's on them, we are having them go into an online payment solution. Whether it's ACH, whether it's credit card, whether it's debit card, whether you want to have a cashless transaction. So we use Green Dot for our cashless transaction. This is, Walmart, it's CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, we have 7-Eleven, we have more coming. But this is the way the future is going to be, is the online payment solution. And what we've done is we've actually done some discounts for our partners. So we know that typically you're going to have a transaction fee if you're doing something via ACH or debit card or credit card. And what we've done is we have worked with our partners, and we've actually been able to remove that from the residents. Some of our partners or our companies, we call, they have actually taken that on. They want to do anything and everything to help their residents pay online. So we have a lot of flexibility to allow your residents to pay online in the manner that they want to pay, or using a cashless payment without dropping something at the leasing office in which somebody could touch. And right now, that is not what we want to do. So if that's something of interest to you, we're always here. This is what we were designed for, but we have the messaging piece. That is a separate module that you can use. Payments do not have to be included in that in any way, shape, or form. But we did want to educate everybody on here that we have an online payment solution. If that's a challenge for you today, or you're looking for an easier solution to combine it with your messaging. So Noah, I appreciate you inviting us here. Hopefully you found this to be interesting and something viable for the time we're in today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Phil. And I know you're a huge emoji guy, so I'm glad that you're able to send those out through AppText. I know that's
whole face, just an emoji right now. So you guys,
Phil and I have entire conversations via emoji. It's great. So what have you seen just in terms of market trends with your current clients? What are you seeing? Not only with the payments, but communication being so important right now. If somebody is having a tough time, being able to at least communicate with them with a game plan in place for when things are turned back on, when they are able to make payments. What have you seen? Are there concessions being made? Are people working out payment plans? Or, what is the trend right now via AppText?
I think at the end of the day, from a management company, we want to get the payments to come in because everybody has to make payments. I mean, mortgage payments are having to be paid. And I think that's one of the things in our industry that there's a lot of this movement that, hey, we're not going to pay. Why are we going to pay our landlords? Well, at the end of the day, whether we're a homeowner or we're renting, we still have to pay to live wherever we are. And just being able to communicate that, hopefully in a very effective way that is a professional manner, not trying to shove something down their throats, but people need to understand that there is a way. We want to help them. We know that there are times that we're going through right now that are tough for a lot of people that have lost their jobs, haven't received the stimulus check yet, and what that's going to do. But to work out plans, have some type of way to communicate with them instead of, if I pick up the phone and I call Noah right now, there is nothing that's going to hold up in a court of law if you and I have an agreement on a phone call and then you turn around and you don't make your payment but I said, well, you said you would. We have the ability to communicate in a way with our residents in a way that they want, and us be able to track that information, which is important. And then for corporate to be able to see what is being communicated to the residents, that is viable. I mean, that is so important to them because it is their reputation. their company, and they want to be able to see it across all of their sites. So what we've heard from the people that have been using AppTex is, one, they love the insight that we're providing from the dashboard, being able to help their property managers send out more information about the property, when amenities could potentially be open, why certain things are closed, where packages may be going, so on and so forth. They're not able to do that until now effectively, but now they get to see, hey, we expect you to be communicating this many times with your residents. It's all about resident satisfaction right now. And this is a way for them to be able to track that and stay in control of it from a corporate perspective.
No, it makes sense. I've seen via social media, it's flooded with, the horror stories of mass emails going out to a property, and the evil landlord asking people to pay rent, heaven forbid. And folks running with that, putting it all over the place. They don't even care. They just want their money. This really, I would imagine, would add a personal element to it, where it's not just a mass email. You're not just sending it out, hey, by the way, the 1st is next week, so you got to pay us. It's more of a, direct message individually to each resident, just letting them know that you are in this together with them. You are here to help, and that you can customize your messaging, to each individual resident, and let them know that they're a part of this and that you're in there with them, instead of just a mass email that says, you got to pay us. If you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah, agreed. And there are a lot of people that haven't been able to pay. So, the 5th came and went here in April, and there were payments that were not made. But having the ability to do a one-off communication with them, and they were afraid. A lot of times the residents they're embarrassed. They don't have a job. They can't make the payment. But working out a payment plan, like you just said, one-off, being able to communicate that effectively on there and let them know that we do care, we get it. Let's work something out. What can you pay? When can you pay it? And then being able to have that tracked in the system, just for legal purposes, is big.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this pandemic has affected everybody individually a little bit differently. So, kind of taking out the mass mailer approach and doing it individually, showing everybody that you want to hear where they're at and how you can help, I think is big. So we really appreciate you guys being a part of this, and heck, offering the messaging for free with no obligation for 60 days. I'm sure it's huge for a lot of folks. So appreciate you doing that also. For anybody that's out there that, yeah, AppTex sounds great. Free is definitely within my budget. But with everything that's going on right now, how the heck am I going to roll this out? What would you say to those folks?
That's the easiest thing. I mean, again, we integrate with just about every property management software system. So there's nothing that they really have to do besides activating the system itself. So we communicate with the property management software company with the API information. We're able to get them up and live. I mean, sometimes 24, 48 hours, we have these properties live. And then from a training perspective, it's very easy for us. When we schedule the different trainings for them to educate them at the property level, at a corporate level, how to do it. So within a couple of days, they've been trained, they're live, they're ready to go. It's one of the easiest things to activate and get people using right away.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again. Speaking of training, if only there was a platform that would deliver training and a learning management system to the industry to help everybody stay in compliance and communicate. The resident communication is important, but communicating with your own team, if only there was a company that did that. Annie?
I heard of one, Noah.
Have you? Okay. Yeah, Annie, any ideas on that?
Yes, a lot of ideas. Thank you, Noah, so much. Really excited to be on this call. So you guys, since today we're talking about communication compliance, Grow really does, is a solution for both of those. Right now, as Phil and Noah, have talked about, this is such a crazy time right now, and we're just kind of all out of our element, especially with on-site staff trying to manage everybody on a remote basis. Like, we've never had to do this before. And, most people in the industry do know us, Grow, as a learning management system that does provide training to the multifamily housing industry, which we do. But what we also do is we can be used as a communications tool. And a lot of our clients are using us that way right now to communicate on a remote basis to all of their staff, including their training, and really housing all the materials that they need to navigate this crisis, be kept up to date, you know, with new policies, procedures, you know, anything that, you know, that COVID-19 has and the CDC has, you know, thrown our way, and just and push out all the training that they need to, kind of all in one. A lot of the right now too, to be transparent with employees is really important, I think, because the anxiety level and the stress level is so high. People are unfortunately losing their jobs right now. They're unsettled, and being able to communicate with your employees through GROW is kind of, you know, keeping everybody on the anxiety level down a little bit. Can we change the slide? Thank you. So I kind of want to show off a little bit about what some of our clients are currently doing and how they're utilizing GROW besides the training. So right here, we have a client that is utilizing the billboards that go across the top here on the dashboard to, you know, post very large in-your-face links out to, you know, any COVID-19 updates. This can, house a stagnant photo, or it can link out to an external document, external video, anything like that. Also, the dashboard is completely customizable to reflect your brand, your message, really connect your company to the employee. Also house all the documents in there as well. You know, it's so customizable, you guys. I just really, I tell everybody that I do a demo for, I say, you know what, tell me what you need. Tell me what do you need to push out to your employees? What are you envisioning? And let's make it happen. Can we go to the next slide? Another great example of a client of ours. So they've got their COVID-19 resources right under a resource tile, pretty much, and they've named it COVID-19. We have multiple different documents in there that you can also assign visibility rules. So maybe some teams or some individuals in management need to see some things that maybe people below management don't. So we can do that as well. If we go to the next slide, I think we have an example on the next slide. Here we go. So under here, this particular client has multiple different, you know, folders and resources regarding COVID-19, you know, regarding, you know, links to the CDC website, cleaning safety, et cetera. So there's a lot of things that we can house and GROW, and we also have unlimited resources capability too. So you can house anything in here that you want. And maybe it's not, you know, maybe it's not relevant to COVID-19. Maybe that's what you want to push out, but maybe you have some other stuff too. Maybe it's HR related, or maybe you've developed some anti-stress tools, or you know, maybe there's some good yoga, you know, websites that we can all use. You know, anything you want to put in here to really be a good resource for your employees, and just really support them in this time. Next slide, please. So here's another example, or another other ways that we can, you know, you can use GROW to communicate with your employees. The calendar function, you can actually schedule your remote meetings via webinar through GROW and track the attendance. So that's really, that's a key feature of GROW as well. FAQs, obviously a great spot to put your frequently asked questions. There's a lot right now coming in. Latest news, it's an online bulletin board, all about your company. Post up there, you know, what's the latest and greatest, or you know, what's going on with your company right now, especially with the remote staffing in place and, you know, the shelter in place, you know, initiatives that are going across right now. Polls and surveys, you can run a poll and a survey to your employees through GROW. The survey function is great, you guys. It's really similar to SurveyMonkey. I really think that it can be used right now as kind of a personal connection to employees. You know, like just simple survey of how are you guys doing? You know, how can we support you more? You know, et cetera. And from what I'm understanding is that employees are just really unsettled right now, and they really need to have that connection, you know, with the management companies, their employers, and their colleagues, and you know, and just kind of maintain as normal of a day-to-day, you know, business practice as they can. We also are providing COVID-19 resources through GROW as courses to be taken. We have a COVID-19 growth path ready to be sent out, you know, to your employees, so that way they're informed. We are staying on top of this on a daily basis. We want to make sure that everybody here gets the information that they need. So all of our clients are utilizing this as well. If you have your own training, we can absolutely upload that into Grow and send that out as well. So maybe some clients, of ours have, their own COVID-19 initiatives or their own, their own message that they want to put out there to their employees. We can absolutely upload that and you can send it out. So you guys, here it is. Just, schedule a demo. Let's hop on a chat. Let's talk about it. Let's talk through it. What do you need? How can Grow assist you in it? Like Phil said, we've never been through this before. Hope we never go through it again. If anything comes out of this, I think that everybody's going to be a little bit more prepared in the future if we do have to go through this again. Communication is definitely key. It brings anxiety levels down, stress levels down. When you're on a remote staffing, you can absolutely push out training. Make use of if there is some downtime. Training's a really good, a really good thing to push out right now as well. Also, all the compliance training that we have, safety, everything. So, I think I think Noah's got my info at the end, and love to chat with anybody that's interested in learning more. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Annie. And as we mentioned, there is no roadmap to how to get through a global pandemic like this. And everybody's figuring things out, for lack of a better term, on the fly right now. And so Annie, with the customization and the capabilities that Grow has, what are some of the requests that you have had recently from clients to add some more content and the yoga training? Gosh, I've never been able to touch my own toes. So if there's something you can shoot me on that, I'm in. No, but what have you seen from some of your current clients on requests for customization and hot topics for their staff right now?
I think right now is really what's been the hottest topic is really pushing out the COVID-19 communication. It's just such a scary time, and I think our clients are really wanting to make sure all of their employees are informed, fully informed, and protected. And what we've also seen with the customization is uploaded resources. Everything in one place has been absolutely huge. Whether it be COVID-19, human resources, training on AppTex or Valence or any other vendors. Anything that people can just easily access has really been pretty much at the top of the list. Yoga has not. That was an idea that a client actually brought up to my attention the other day. Thought it was an awesome idea to kind of reduce stress levels. So we're open to it.
Fantastic. No, that's and we appreciate you guys jumping on board, getting aggressive with everything. I know that we spoke last week, and you mentioned not being beat on price. If there's anybody that wants to take advantage of Grow right now, obviously you guys are going to do everything that you can to lower those barriers of entry if there are any budget concerns, to get an LMS training program in place. Where I know a lot of clients, that I've spoken with, do have corporate trainers in place, but they aren't able to get out there and stay ahead of this thing or visit the sites like they're accustomed to. And so Grow is a fantastic solution for that, and appreciate you guys working with anybody out there that wants to be a part of it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Batten cleanup for us. CG, are you with me? Valence Docs, Chris Garrett. How are you, sir?
Doing wonderful, Noah. Thank you for having us on here. I just want to, again, reiterate how thankful I am of everybody's time for joining today. I think this has been wonderful. Really impressed with the other offerings, whether it's Second Grow, or AppTex. I think they're all great solutions to help us during these times. So I'm just very thankful to be a part of this, and really excited to share with you what Valence Docs can do for your team. And I think, we've been talking about a lot of messaging and training, and, the big theme here is, how do you continue to manage your business in a remote way, right? And if you really think about your documents, what kind of access do you have to those today? Are you still managing them in a paper file at the office? And if you're at a corporate level, how long does it take you to get the documents that you need? I mean, I know, and speaking with a lot of other management companies, they're working from home and may not even have access to some of their documents. So what we built is a full comprehensive document management solution where, our team can talk with you and customize your environment to fit your needs. So you can manage anything at a corporate level all the way down to a property level. So it's not just for your resident lease files. It's for, anything, building information, inspections, search, you name it. I mean, in this industry, we deal with so many different types of documents. And, unfortunately today, there's usually a mix, right? You're managing in paper files, you're managing them in a Dropbox, a shared folder of some kind, and then you also have your property management software system. But today, I want to challenge you to really think about what it would be like if you could have every single document you ever needed to access in one easy-to-use location, because that's what we can provide for you. And you can go into our environment, get any type of document you need at the click of a button. And really what other management companies have is really just storage, or I'm sorry, not management companies, but other platforms are using is just storage, right? It's housing your documents where you can, access it. And look, I've seen some of the property management software systems and seen inside and how they access their documents, and it's not easy. In fact, I know some of them don't have like 10 different attachments. You don't even know what these attachments are. You just have to open them up and hope that you find what you're looking for. Our solution, we have everything labeled out. Every single document that you upload has to be labeled what it is. So you will have visibility and be able to access that and know what each document is within a folder. So today, just to reiterate, it's so important. And we all know that documentation is king, right? And without it, we lose. So it's very, very important that, you're able to access it and you're compliant. And speaking of compliance, if we go to the next slide, we have a folder audit capability that no other system has today. So, today you might be taking the time to scan your documents in and save them electronically, but other than just storing it, what is it really doing for you? Our platform can allow you to create a custom folder audit where you can, and maybe think about the required documents for your resident. We can set that up for you, customize it, so that you can run this folder audit report anytime you want and ensure that your resident files are all in compliance. So we can help you mitigate risk because, again, without documentation, we lose in a litigation, right? So we can help you mitigate that risk and keep those files up to date. Next slide. In addition, we also have something I'm very, very excited to share is our lease file audit tool. And many of you that have done this or have talked to someone who have done this, it's not a fun process typically, right? You're having to go resident by resident and you're having to check, okay, does my rent amount in my property management software system match the rent amount on the actual document itself? Well, our solution with our integration with Blue Moon can allow you to do a lease file audit for all of your units in a matter of minutes. And this works through our API with Blue Moon. And we have over 250 potential fields on the Blue Moon lease document that we could potentially check. So rent amounts, term dates, deposits, you can see the occupants. You want to check, animal, additional pet amounts, you name it. So we can customize these to include the fields that you want. We can run these monthly. We can run these quarterly for you. But if you really think about how, time consuming and how many resources are usually involved in doing these types of audits, we can help you eliminate that. And, in addition to help you mitigating risk with our folder audits, this can help you recapture potentially lost revenue to ensure that you're getting max return on your assets. And I think in today's environment, that's extremely important. Next slide. So what we're doing to help our partners out in the industry today is that, number one, our standard version, which includes the integration with Blue Moon, which includes our folder audit capabilities, and then also giving you the unlimited storage to store every single type of document that you need so that you have access to it in one easy-to-use location. For TAA members, that can be used at no cost. So I urge you, if you just now hearing about this, reach out. I mean, we'd love to talk to you, get a better understanding where you are today. You know, I mean, there's always a reason, right, to push something off. But I think in today's environment, it's so imperative that, you know, we have access to the documents that we need, and we can ensure that we're in compliance. So we'd love to hear from you and love to talk through with you and get you set up. We're also offering half off of bulk import. And, you know, one of the challenges you might be thinking, well, how am I going to get all these documents? How am I going to get started? Well, we can help you bulk import your files so that you can get all your documents for your current residents in there and up to date. And we're offering that at half off so that we can help you get started. And then also we're going to be offering our audit services free for 60 days. So essentially all you really would have to do is send us a rent roll report. Our team would upload that and return those lease file audit results to you for 60 days at no cost. And of course, you know, no obligation after that 60 days. But we want to try to help give you that visibility that you otherwise wouldn't have. So Noah and to everybody else, thank you. I really appreciate being able to be on this call today. And that's it.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you you guys hopping on. I mean, this is one of those, Valence, gosh, offers such a unique service to their clients. I was talking to somebody, it was probably about a month ago now, but you know, hearing their current auditing process, putting a few folks on an airplane, flying them out physically to a property to go through each file individually, the due diligence process, I mean, costing thousands of dollars to do every single time. Chris, what is it? I mean, if somebody wanted to, I mean, you just went through the, you know, how to get started, but somebody wants to do a lease file audit. What does that really entail? What does that take in lieu of flying people out to the property to thumb through each file individually? What does that look like in terms of time and process and workload?
That's a great question, Noah, and I'm happy to report that there's minimal setup and time required to get that started. In fact, as long as the property's been using Blue Moon, we can use that and start using it day one. It's as simple as understanding the fields that you want included on the audit, and from there we can start going. So again, that's a great point. It's a great solution to get started with today, just in terms of helping you mitigate risk and giving you visibility that you otherwise wouldn't have, and especially with the lease file audits today. You know, ensuring that we're capturing all the revenue that we possibly can, because, you know, if a rent amount's off and we don't know it for 12 months, you know, that could add up very quickly. So, you know, we're very happy to be able to do this and provide a solution for lease file audits that really, quite frankly, just hasn't been here until today. So.
Sure. No, it makes sense. I mean, this is, you know, in the new normal, the land of new normal, where we're social distancing, staying inside. I live in Washington State, and I haven't even seen the outdoors in a few days. I'll tell you the truth. It's nice to get some things done. I've ordered a guitar. I've never picked one up before in my life. Found one. I'm going to do guitar lessons online just to pass the time. This is how bad it's getting. So imagine coming out of this whole thing with all of your files completely in compliance, all of the documentation in place, the due diligence still moves forward. The lease audits are completely done by the time everybody's back to their regular routines. Everything is tidied up. This is one of those that just makes all the sense in the world. And, you know, Valence stepping up and offering the auditing tools for 60 days at no charge. I mean, that gives folks an opportunity to really get everything in line and get a taste for what Valence is all about. So, you know, this is we really appreciate you guys being a part of this. And, you know, like I said, stepping up and offering something that folks really need at a time that they really need it. So thanks a lot, Valence and Chris, for being a part of this. We did have an answer come in. Derek, at 11:51, so 51 minutes after we asked everybody what, it only took him 51 minutes to come up with the answer to what day of the week it was. And Derek, you are correct, it is Tuesday. I would have taken a lot longer than that because I have no idea where I am or what day it is, but you have the correct answer, Derek, so we appreciate you participating. Anybody else that has any questions, feel free to chime in. We have the exit poll here. This is what we talked about at the opening of the call. We are going to select folks that participate in the poll to send a little thank you gift card for participating in the call, but also for letting us know what really hit home and what you might be interested in from the call. To all of our panelists, again, Phil, Seth, Chris, Annie Bing, all of your brands, all the companies that participated today, sincerely thank you. This is a time where we're in this together and working through it. And for you guys to step up the way that you have and offer these solutions to the industry at little and in most cases no charge whatsoever is huge. So speaking on behalf of the folks that participated, I want to send you a sincere thank you for being a part of it. Any questions, anything that you need, we will distribute a contact list, email, phone numbers, and based on the poll here, we will, again, get you the information that you request through the poll. For those of you that chimed in with questions, we appreciate you. Again, if you need anything whatsoever, just a reminder, do not hesitate to contact us. We are in this together, and we're here for you. So Site Comply, Grow LMS, Valence Docs, and AppTex, thank you again for being here. And if you guys need anything whatsoever, please don't hesitate to contact us. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.